Welcome back to all our friends, family, and yes, even our foes. To the Fox 10 Sports Podcast, where Todd and his sports-passionate kids are ready to bring you the latest updates and insights on all things sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here are your hosts, Kellen, Garrett, Gannon, and coming to you from the Fox 10, their dad, Todd Fox.
Hello, everyone, again. Welcome back to all those friends, family, and foes. With Garrett and Gannon, I am Todd Fox. Oldest son, Kellen, can't make it again tonight, but we're hoping here soon he'll be back very soon. We'll get Callie on here with a lot of OU stuff coming up as well. But first off, we're gonna try to keep this a little bit shorter than usual. There's just not a whole lot going on in the sports world currently. I know there's a lot of NFL training camps kicked off and then going to be kicking off. I believe most of them will be kicked off by Wednesday. But there'll be a lot of that conversation to go on. But what we want to talk about first is the Oklahoma Sooners had their media day last year for the SEC last week. And by the time we were on, I think that they hadn't gone yet. And Brent Venables got up and did a really outstanding job. I don't know if you want to talk about it, if you want me to kind of segue. I can kind of say a few things on what he said real quick. For Venables, here's what I enjoyed about it. He said Oklahoma isn't intimidated as a football program. We're running towards the SEC, which is exactly right. He said, "How ready are we? We're excited for the challenge, and I think you have to go through it." So, any thoughts on hearing your coach say something like that? I think is a pretty good indication that, and like we've been saying, they're not intimidated.
I think it just goes along with him being the guy we hired after Lincoln left, and that point knowing we were moving to the SEC. He's been that guy knowing he was going to have to run towards it. He was going to have a pretty uphill battle of getting the team ready from where it was at when he took over. I mean, the SEC is not a joke schedule-wise. Every single week is going to be tough, whether it's home or away, or you're playing South Carolina or Alabama.
Sure.
So I think, it is good to hear. I think everyone's known that as an Oklahoma fan, that he's been pretty vocal that we're the ones joining and running towards it. We're not at all just, hopping on Texas's back or anything. If anything, it's vice versa, given the state of each program the last decade or 2 decades. Yeah. So I think that's important to note as well. But yeah, for him telling the whole conference, the whole country, making sure they know that we're not scared and there's no reason for us to be scared at all. It's good to hear, because I know we've been saying it for a while as well.
Sure.
What I like too, because like you said, we've known that he's kind of that guy since the day we hired him, but he's not really like him saying that he's not worried about other like anything. I guess anything else really. He's just like, well, we can control is all of us, and I know we're ready. I like that kind of mentality instead of like he doesn't even put much focus on other programs and such. He just kind of keeps it with us and says, well, we can control, we're ready. I don't know. I really like that part of it.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. The thing is, when he took over, the defense were not his players, and the ones that he did pick were either very young or obviously most all of them were new into the system. And from what it sounds like, he's got a pretty complicated system. This is now year 3. You've got several players, the Bowmans, the Stutzmans, these guys that have been there, Ethan Downs, players like that have been there. And I think we'll only see progression. Now, we're going to see a lot tougher opponents. I will agree with you. Definitely will. Everybody would agree with us on that. But I think we'll still have a better defense. And I personally, truly think it'll just continue to get better. And he's done a very good job at that from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, and it is going to be harder. Now, that being said, if we were still in the Big 12, I still think like Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Utah, those guys are better than 90% of the SEC. I think those top 3 in that conference would be most the conference in the SEC, bottom tier or half way down that list.
Just
but
more of the big dogs up top. Yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest difference though is the crowds and the way the fans travel.
Yeah.
Like the fans
You're
and
fun.
the passion in the ICC is just a different level. Is what I think is going to be the biggest change, and I know that's also what Jackson Arnold said as well. But Venables is pretty vocal about that. It makes him so confident is that our fan base is so ready for it. Like that's why we're ready, and that's why we belong in the SEC. It's just
Right.
we have the fan base, we have the firepower, and we got the brand to make that transition. But
And I don't think any of us expect us to walk right in there and we're, kicking tail in and winning the whole daggum thing. But we're not intimidated, and we're gonna play hearts out, and we're gonna get better. And we're gonna the longer we're there, we're gonna compete. Basically, is we're gonna compete. We're not gonna be the Vanderbilts or South Carolinas. We're not gonna be up there for a little bit and down and up and down. We're gonna be one of those top. I'm gonna say probably 2, 3, 4 teams year in and year out, and you'll have a few down years, but I truly think we'll be in that discussion of the top, because there's 16 teams, right? So I think we'll be in the top 25% majority of the time, first to the fourth, somewhere around there, majority of the time. Not sure.
yeah, I'd be interested too. I wouldn't be shocked if within the next several years they have their own mini playoff to get to the championship. Whenever you got there's a chance you got 4 10-2 teams or something by the end of the year, and how are you supposed to decide if it's a Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, and
Could they
who
do that?
knows?
Yeah.
They could. They haven't
could.
yet, but they could.
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
But and so that's just another thing that would definitely put us, in contention to get the championship. But
Sure. Well, he also talked about Jackson Arnold being ready for the challenge. He said, quote, Jackson understands better than anybody what goes into being a quarterback, his ability to handle the highs and the lows, the challenge, the success, the failure that the season will bring you. No one is more ready. No question about it. He's ready for his moment. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not going to compare Texas high school football to college football, let alone, again, SEC, but he's been a starter in high school for 3.5 years, roughly, just over 3 years, I guess, technically. And he saw, like you mentioned, a lot of lows, a lot of highs. When he committed to us, he was a 3-star. And then he just, skyrocketed up the ranks with his play senior year and winning all these camps and showing out. So he has worked really hard to get to where he's at now. And I think, like Venable said, he's not going to take where he's at right now for granted. Like, he still has that drive. And we've heard it since his freshman year, beginning of freshman year, when Jeff Lebby was talking about him and Venables. Like, he was always one of the last one, if not the last one in the film room. Like, he wants to be that next great Oklahoma quarterback. And I think he understands the pressure of being at that position at this university, given of how many Heismans and how many recent success we've had at that position. So I don't think he is shying away from that at all. I think he's made for the big moments. He wants the big moments.
Well, I think we saw that just in that last game last season. How many turnovers did he have? Because I can't remember off the top of my head.
He had
I
3.
think him alone, 4.
Right? Did he have
I think
4?
he
I
had
know he had 3
picks and a fumble.
interceptions.
Yeah,
But,
and
he had
a couple
fumble.
of them weren't totally his fault, but obviously that can mentally kind of mess you up. And that's what I have been saying since the night of that game. Like, he didn't stop or slow down; he just kept going. Like, it didn't matter. So I think we've seen all of that just in that game alone. And then, like Gary said, since he's been here too, so I don't think it's really too much surprising, but very exciting though for sure.
Be definitely exciting to see, and I cannot wait. Venables also said Danny Stutzman's mature approach to return. This is what he had to say about it. Danny had an excellent draft grade, and I've had plenty of guys take the grade and go with it. He had a real practical process that he went through. Like, I have so much more to give. He wanted to be one of the leaders to help take us into the SEC. I think having a player like Stutzman will play huge dividends this year.
Oh, no doubt. I think he's definitely overlooked, even being, if I'm not mistaken, a second team preseason All-American, maybe third team. Actually, I'm not really sure. I'd have to look that up, but he, by the end of the year, could be known as the best linebacker in the country. I think if he would have not gotten injured last year, he would have been in contention, if not gotten, is it the Buckus Award?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the best linebacker. So he's going to definitely put himself on the map for a lot of NFL teams in probably a pretty high round. And he's definitely just that kind of caliber of player that you see in the SEC of just linebackers that, like, Oklahoma in the past, from what I've seen, we have a lot of like, they're small. We have really small. They're fast. Well, they're small linebackers, and he's quick, but he doesn't miss many tackles and he doesn't miss very many reads at all.
No, he's fantastic, and I cannot wait. They did ask him about the horns down debate, and he said about the gesture. I don't really have an opinion. Venables, is one who said that. Football is a game of emotion, intensity, and passion. If they say that's going to be a penalty, then don't do it. If they say it's going to be, if it's okay to do, then hey, have a free for all, and then have at it. It's amazing that even has to even come up. Just shows you Texas is just really soft.
Every single one of them got asked the question.
Yeah, they did.
My favorite response was Billy Bowman's. Did you see his response? Is saying that if what did he say? If it's going to get flagged, or if you have to get flagged for, showing that kind of whatever, I don't know what he said,
emotion
but
or whatever.
Yeah, then you shouldn't be on the field. Like, pretty much saying if they're going to get soft about it and be scared and whine about it, then you don't belong there, because
100%.
It's a grown man sport. Like, if you're just going to get, your panties in a wad of having some logo thrown at you upside down, then, you can go back to the MAC or whatever.
And I don't disagree the fact if you did it right in a player's face. I don't think that's probably the right
But
thing
that's
to do.
any hand gesture, any kind of action in their face. Yeah, but that's like,
you know what I mean?
There's definitely worse going on in the field.
The players are doing it to the crowd, getting the crowd all hyped up. And that's what's going on here. And it's nothing. I mean, you can say it's disrespectful to Texas, whatever. It's a gesture that everybody in college football knows about. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And for them to even be a topic, and for it to even have been a penalty in the old Big 12 is absolutely ludicrous, in my opinion.
Arnold said he doesn't think he doesn't think it should be a penalty, but he's not going to get into that. So
yeah, for sure. He had he also, Brent Venables, gave some injury updates on what is it, Andrell Anthony. I know he's there. The concern there with him is the fact that he may not even be ready for August 30th against Temple. And there's a possibility, same thing with Farouk. He's battling a foot injury. I guess he opted to not have the surgery. He wants to heal by itself. That's a concern. I think it's a good I say that we're deep at receiver, but if you take out those two guys, those are big hits.
It's big hits. Like you said, we're deep. That's the deepest position we have on the team. You're still going to have Deion Burks. You're still going to have Nick Anderson, Jalil Gibson, or Jaden Gibson. Yeah. Petaway is going to be there. I think he could, show up. So, and that's just four of them. And there's several other guys that there's no telling, being our fourth or fifth option, how they could do. So, no, don't get me wrong. I think we'll notice it. I think we'll miss them because that's how good those guys are. But, we saw it last year with Anthony going out the second half of the year. We definitely saw.
Yeah.
So, but, Temple's not going to be an issue. Tulane is not going to be an issue if they have to miss that game either. So, I'm not worried about that at all. Would love to see them play just because they're exciting athletes and exciting playmakers. But it's our deepest position, and so I'm not too worried about that.
Sure. Couple things about Texas real quick. One being the fact that looks like the SEC is going to refer to as UT as Tennessee, which I think is hilarious. And then Texas is as TEX. So I love that. And I think Texas is just playing nice right now. Just wait. All the SEC folks that listen to our podcast, and I think majority of them already know that the fact that Texas will start stirring up some stuff at some point for sure. What are your thoughts on Nick Saban saying that Texas will not run the SEC? I loved it.
Yeah, but is there any one program that will? That's what I was thinking.
Georgia.
Georgia looks pretty good.
But like, I
for a
feel like that
while.
wasn't even so much of a like hot take or like, ooh, it was just kind of funny because we don't like him and everything. But in my
No.
head, like, that's not the craziest thing to say.
I think coming from Saban, the guy that just got out of coaching, that's the only thing hearing him say that, because they're not going to run. They didn't even run the Big 12. They won it the last year. Thank you. And hats off to them, but they're not going to run this thing. And we talked about it, I think last week, the week before. You're going to have highs and lows every year with teams. There's going to be teams like Missouri is going to have a great year. You're going to have Tennessee have a great year. You're going to have Mississippi State once every 4 or 5 years have like, and I don't mean number one, but I'm talking about maybe one of those top 4 or 5 teams in the conference. That'll happen with everybody. There's so much good night. There's so much good players and good teams in this conference. But I'm not worried about it at all. I think it's hilarious, and I love the fact that my man Saban said it.
Well, to go back to the UT and Texas thing, like, and also with the horns down, like they're a soft fan base. Whenever everything's not going their way, they're gonna make a lot of excuses. They're gonna really hone in on that one championship. And I get we haven't won one since 2000, but not much worse than 2005, if I'm not mistaken. So at that point,
we won a lot of conference championships. So
yeah, and so they make a lot of excuses, and they love to degrade others to try and bring them down to their level. And like you said, this is going to be a good year for them. They had a good year last year, but they're not used to anymore having consistency in that. And I don't know why we should believe that they will. I mean, I know Sarkisian, recruits at a decent level. I wouldn't say decent, like super high, because he's at Texas and he can still barely get a top 5 class, but we've yet to really see if he can get, a guy from start to finish and put him in the NFL. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about them for the long term yet at all. So,
yeah. And then my last question about like the OU program at this point. Obviously, Texas is our big rival. We don't play Oklahoma State anymore. Who do you see that could jump out to be one of our big rivals in the SEC, or is it going to be too difficult because of the fact that the way the schedule will run? What are your thoughts on that? Or who would you like to see be maybe a big rival of ours?
I mean, I think to classify as a rival, it has to be decently competitive.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't go Arkansas for that reason alone. So my
just
next
proximity,
thing,
it'd be cool to see the fan bases and teams, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. My next thing is, and this is kind of going with what I said about Texas, but is like Mizzou, just proximity. And I know, there's already a decent hatred in fan bases because, we're definitely going after the same players, and we're getting some, they're getting some. So recruiting wise, that's a battle itself. But the same thing. I mean, they haven't been good, and I don't even know. And so why would we believe that there's going to be any consistency there? But I would say Mizzou, and I would like to see that rivalry become a thing, because I mean, we're not going to say BAM, we're not going to say LSU. Like they got all theirs. They have their rivalries in the SEC already.
Yeah,
I would like to see after this first season to see our answers after we're like in the mix and play however many of the teams. Like, I think that'd be funny actually to look back and then be like, oh man, but this is it, or like this is who I would want. What would you say, Paul?
what I would say, and I hear what Garrett's saying, but here's what I would like to see every year, like the Friday or Saturday after Thanksgiving, OU LSU. I think that could be a big chance of a big rivalry. I don't think Alabama's big rival is Auburn. Auburn and Florida. I mean, Florida and Georgia. You've got Florida, Tennessee. You've got Alabama, and who was I getting ready to say?
LSU.
Well, not but no, it's more Georgia, and then LSU's a little bit down there. They're probably third, maybe somewhere right around there. Fans can let us know in the comments. That'd be great. But I think OU and LSU would be a fantastic jumpstart on our rivalry to kind of kick off and play every Friday after Thanksgiving or Saturday after Thanksgiving. And I think that'd be a fun rivalry to get going.
No, I think it'd be fun. Like I said, I think for the most part, most of those top teams already have those rivalries in place. So that's why I went like a Mizzou, just because they're bottom table that have potential to be mid-table.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at our record against Mizzou, it's you know what I mean. We've got that
True.
past. Now, I
Same
get
with
the
Oklahoma
fact that-
State, but
I get it's the past. I understand that, but Missouri is better than what they have been in several years. But then there were some years where they stunk. Gannon, were you going to say something?
Well, I was gonna say that I don't know how I guess credible that would be, since it's like a whole new game of us being in the same conference or in the SEC together. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, yes, that's true, but also 30 years from now, if we look back,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
always
that's
going to
true.
be that division of
Yeah.
like, oh, but since the SEC and everything.
That's true. That's not bad. Not bad at all. All right. So last Monday, something special came out. What was it, Garrett? What came out on last Monday? What you remember?
after a long decade of wait, it was the NCAA football.
Okay. I will tell you, everybody, my fans, this used to have what was the last one? 2014.
PlayStation 3. Yeah, 2014.
On PlayStation 3. So that's the last time I ever played it. It's been 10 years. I was in Costco the other day. I saw PlayStation 5 there for sale, the game and all this stuff, and text Garrett. I think I text you or everybody and asked if it was a good deal, and you guys said yeah. And so guess what? After 10 years, I now have a PS5, and I
Paul's
played.
back on the sticks.
I'm back on there, and I
Back
played
on
it
the
quite a bit.
sticks.
You got your little sister Callie into it as well. It's pretty cool. But I just want to talk about that. Gannon, do you have it at all? No.
No.
Danny
No,
can't
I
was
even
gonna
get
ask-
it. He just-
Yeah, I don't even have the new system. I was gonna ask if it was as good as what we were hoping. Obviously, though.
It's pretty
Yeah,
good. It's pretty good. So let's talk about that for just a few more minutes. How exciting it is, and then what do you see? Like to me, I enjoy the recruiting piece of it more than anything, and it's a lot different now than what it was 10 years ago. It's a little harder, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The only advice I would give to everybody is get on it earlier, because I didn't realize kind of what was going on. And it took me a little bit to realize what was going on. I'm way behind on the recruiting that first year, but you guys know that I like to kind of rush a little bit through the games and do that recruiting more.
No, I think they nailed the recruiting. I haven't made it to the transfer portal, so I'm super
I haven't
excited
either.
to see
Yeah.
how that
Yeah.
works. It
Yeah.
kind of gives you an update throughout the season of guys that you're going to probably lose to the transfer portal. But no, I think they nailed that. I think they nailed just a lot of internal things. Ratings wise, I love that the highest overall player is like a 96. I think that's awesome. Gameplay wise, offensively, it feels great. I don't think defensively they could definitely fix a few things, because I definitely struggle to stop them on All American. But
Sure.
Sounds like just a Gary thing, man.
yeah, I don't know. Have you played an away game against a top 10 atmosphere stadium like an
Me?
LSU or yeah?
Yeah, but I'm on the easy mode right now because I'm trying to get in. And the reason why is I haven't played it in 10 years. But I mean,
Oh
It
no, yeah,
is-
that's fair.
you know what I mean? I bet it is.
It's hard because you can't.
That is
you
actually
can't
sick,
audible.
though.
You can't audible throughout the whole game, pretty much. You won't.
Really?
You don't know what your receiver's buttons are until maybe halfway after the snap, because the crap. I mean, your screen
That's cool.
is shaking.
I've seen it where they're
It is,
like,
yeah.
they're
And it's just insane. Like it's realistic in a sense of just
That
like
is
the
awesome.
nerves and like not knowing
No,
what
it
the
is.
heck's going on. But like at the same time, I'm kind of ticked because I'm like, okay, I choose a play and then I forget like right before I snap. I'm like, I don't even know where these guys are going. So,
Yeah,
but like I said,
played.
you can't audible. So say you have a defensive look that you know you're going to get screwed over. You're just going to get screwed over. So
That's awesome.
I did play a like a scrimmage game, if you want to call it that. I mean, just one in the dynasty, but against A&M, there at their field, Kyle Field there, and it was on varsity. And varsity is just even. I mean, it's like amazing how me and Clay were talking the other day. It needs to be one in the middle of varsity and freshman, because varsity is tough. And I did win, but it was, oh man, I was sweating.
yeah.
But it's
Gavin
fun.
Sawchuk's
So-
arguably a top 5 player in the game, which doesn't make any sense personally. I love the guy, but
Who?
Sawchuk,
Okay, yeah.
So it
Say
sounds
again?
like they nailed the atmosphere part better than like the old games. I remember they had like anytime you kicked it, it was like impossible because it would like have ice after they iced you. But is the kicking hard too? Is the kicking
It's
hard? But
you're not
is it
making
hard away as well?
It's hard.
an away game. I have not made a
hard.
single kick over 25 yards.
It's hard.
It is,
But that's only
impossible.
with the atmosphere like that. Like normally it's good.
No, yeah, I don't know. Home game,
Okay,
you're
okay.
fine, yeah. But
That's
in a
awesome.
way, I mean, I'm sending that thing into the left side of the stadium. Like it's
I try if
insane.
you can't miss the power, and even
No,
if you do
you
hit
can't.
power, if you do hit a lot of power, you don't know where it's going.
You don't know.
So it's
you don't
you
know.
don't have any idea.
Doesn't help. Oklahoma's kicker is like a 70-something overall,
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah, you
sure.
don't know.
One thing I don't like about it is the fact that I didn't notice this, but Clay said they got Texas on the wrong side against OU Texas
They fixed that.
game. Did they fix it?
That was a report. That was a thing before the game came out, but they fixed
Okay.
it before the game.
And then if you
Cool.
notice, like the crowd, like what I noticed at the OU Texas when I played, the Texas crowd was cheering at the same time as OU crowd was, and when I was doing something good, and I think they got to fix something like that. I don't know how they do that, but that's something that needs to be fixed because there's some big rivalry games out there.
That would be like hard, and I guess like they would never have done that before. But like this is the time to do something like that. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
But I think it'd be cool too. Like in that game, you're never like away because it's in a neutral site, so you never have those nerves or whatever. But I think it'd be neat if you were on that side of Texas's field, that's whenever you see it, and then if you can make it past midfield, then you're good. But yeah, no, I mean, game's awesome. I've really enjoyed it. The only complaint I have is just defensively. It's rough. It's the offensive lines are rough as well, but now it's fun.
I would give it a 9.5 on a scale to 10 for sure. So go out there and grab it. All right, last question, guys. It's we got to have a food question here. Give me your top three favorite pizza styles, like a style of pizza. What are your from 3 to 1? What do you got?
I've got
3 to 1.
Yeah,
3 to 1.
Yeah.
I got a little Neapolitan number 3. Got a New York number 2. And I've only ever had it one place, but it's my favorite pizza of all time, Greek pizza.
Yeah. Cool.
Right here in Springfield, Missouri.
Gannon, what do you got?
I got number 3. I got Greek. Number 2, Detroit. Number 1, New York.
All right. Well, I've got number 3, New York. I've got number 2, Greek, and that same thing with Garrett. Harris's pizza is incredible, one of the best pizzas I've ever had. Number 1, deep dish pizza. Nothing like it. Fantastic. I love it. And what are you guys laughing at? What did I say? Something funny?
Hands out here
Had to be
flipping
there.
off the camera.
Didn't mean to.
We flipping off cameras, man. But yeah, it's a family show. But yeah, that was my favorite deep
Family
dish. I
what?
love deep dish. You can have a couple pieces of deep dish and you're good. It's got to be it's so good. We had some of that in Chicago. It was fantastic. But that's the Fox Den Sports Podcast for tonight. Hopefully, here's what I need everybody to do. What are your favorite pizzas as well? Put it in the comments. Let us know. Let's get that thing going. And you'll be able to, YouTube channel, free. Listen to their YouTube channel. To subscribe to it. You can listen to it in your car, wherever you can listen to your podcast on little apps. Do that and listen to us. But yeah, put a subscribe, put some comments in there, and we would appreciate it. But I want to remind everyone. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, let us know
What?
too. Who else Oklahoma could be a rivalry? Is it your team?
Yeah, that's
Is
good.
it
Yeah, that's a good
different
question.
Team? Obviously,
Yeah.
Texas is locked in at number 1 for
Exactly.
more than one reason.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Good question. Good one. Put that in there as well. Iron sharpens iron.
please stay safe.
Be savage, not average.
And remember to join the what, Gannon?
The skulk.
Nice microphone.
The score.
And until next time, good. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. Boomer Sooner.
Thank you for listening to the Fox Den Sports Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to our YouTube channel, Fox Den Sports. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Fox Den Sports and on Facebook at Fox Den Sports Podcast. You can also email us at foxdensports@yahoo.com. This has been Fox Den Sports.